I do believe it's true. It's time to come back to the BS Report. John Stanko and Kevin Barnett here. WICR. It is 8:22 on a Tuesday evening. We just got through our top 5 picks of our NFL mock draft. The NFL draft set for 8 p.m. this upcoming Thursday, the official start to the NFL season. And now we're going to move on to pick number 6, the Atlanta Falcons. They were rumored to want to move up to number 1 to get Jadeveon Clowney, but that rumor has seemed to have simmered just a little bit. Who do you see the Atlanta Falcons, a team that really disappointed last year, taking with this pick?
I think they need a lot of it was on the defense. However, I think they're going to go offense. I think they're going to hit the home run of the draft and get Greg Robinson at number 6. This is barring no trades, obviously, because Greg Robinson is still around at number 5 or something. Someone's going to trade up to try and get him. Someone will try and do that, and I know that for a fact. I mean, I could say I know that for a fact. But, no, I think Greg Robinson fills a huge need. Matt Ryan was terribly protected last year. This fills a huge need for them. I mean, Sam Baker, had injury problems, the offensive left tackle. They've never really had a good right tackle. They've had like 4 different starting right tackles in the past 4 years. So this would fill a huge need for them. Greg Mads, you get the best offensive tackle in the draft. Kid I watched at Auburn closely, actually, because I kept hearing his name rise up quickly. So then I paid attention closely to him whenever Auburn had a huge game, which was a lot last year.
Yeah,
great run blocker. Obviously, Trey Mason wasn't a Heisman Trophy candidate, without a good offensive line. So that's where I'm going.
I'm going offensive line as well, but I'm going Jake Matthews, a team that I thought Oakland could pick up if they wanted to, but they're gonna get Sammy Watkins. I said so. I think Jake Matthews goes 6. I think he goes next. I think it's a safe pick for the Atlanta Falcons. It's tempting to trade up number 1, but I think they'd have to give up too much. When you could get a player like Jake Matthews, a position that you need at 6.
They have shown they are willing to give up a lot, though.
Yeah.
Because what they did with Julio Jones.
Well, that worked out beautifully.
And that worked out very well.
But I see them going with Jake Matthews at number 6, offensive tackle at Texas A&M.
So yeah, we're in the same mold.
Same idea.
Right.
Now, number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're under new management this year, a new head coach, Lovie Smith. What do you see the Buccaneers doing at the number 7 pick?
I think that this is going to draw a little ooze. I think this is going to be a great pick, though. I wouldn't mind if this guy was here for my New York Giants, but I think that they're going to take defensive tackle Aaron Donald from Pittsburgh.
Really?
This is a guy who has soared up draft boards. And
Okay.
do you remember Dontari Poe? He was a defensive tackle from Memphis. The Chiefs took him at number 11 when he was predicted to go in the 20s.
Okay.
That turned out to be a really good pick.
Okay.
Because of how athletic he was. Aaron Donald's really athletic. They already have Joe McCoy. But imagine Watt and Clowney. If you have him and Aaron Donald, and this also really tailors to Lovie Smith's system beautifully too.
It would.
Aaron Donald and Gerald McCoy, because Lovie Smith always had good defensive tackles in Chicago. So I know he's got one Gerald McCoy now, but you put McCoy and Donald together, and then they already have a great linebacker, Levante David. So they do have a good defense. I think they need a receiver, but I'm not. Yes, I have so many receivers going in the first round, but I think with Evans off the board already, that no other receivers worth taking in the top 10.
See, this is where I disagree with you because I don't have Evans off the board yet, and that's why I have Evans going number 7 to Tampa Bay.
Evans makes sense here, but I have Evans off the board.
Yeah, so that again, you just have him going before I do, and I think Tampa Bay, they need a wide receiver desperately.
Opposite Vincent Jackson. Yeah.
Exactly, and frankly, Doug Martin, I think he needs a little bit of attention off of him because people were stuffing the box last year when they couldn't pass the ball and just stopping Doug Martin. You get another receiver, you give him more space, you help your entire offense. So that's why I think Evans is going to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
All right, so again, you agree with my pick, but you just have him going earlier than I do. Now let's move to number 8, the Minnesota Vikings. They have the best running back in football, but they have no quarterback to speak of whatsoever. Do you see the Vikings taking a quarterback at number 8?
I do indeed. Did you pull some Professor? You said I pulled Professor X stuff last week. Did you pull it on me right now?
I mean, what do you got? What do you got the Vikings taking?
I got the best quarterback in the draft going to Minnesota. It's not named Aaron Murray, obviously, but Aaron Murray, obviously, sadly, I watched Gruden.
Man crush.
Of course, I watched Gruden's QB camp on that when he was on, of course.
Yes.
But, and you can't take what Gruden says too seriously, obviously.
I love John Gruden.
Well, he likes everybody, though.
I love John Gruden.
He loves everybody. But yes, I have Blake Bortles going to Minnesota. Kid can play. I think once he joins that team, he'll immediately be the best quarterback on the roster. Matt Castle was brutal for Kansas City a couple of years ago. Didn't really do much, I don't think, in the games he did play for me. He had like 1 or 2 good, decent games, but I kind of like Christian Ponder. They were the best, I thought, when he was
But they did not offer him an extension on his deal.
They did not pick up his option, so he's out of there. Josh Freeman with the one game was a disaster. Now he's on my New York Giants, of course. It was a real great, but whatever. We'll get to the Giants later. Blake Bortles, I think, though, makes all too much sense.
I agree with you here. I think Blake Bortles makes too much sense here. I think that Minnesota, they need a quarterback, and they need someone who could really kind of balance out their obviously one-dimensional offense. You got Greg Jennings at wide receiver, a good wide receiver. I agree with you. I think Blake Bortles to Minnesota just makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
I agree. And I'm not sure he's the best quarterback in the draft. I'm not as sold as you on that fact because I don't think any of the quarterbacks have really separated themselves.
Yeah,
I love Carr at quarterback. I've grown to really like him.
He's not going to get a lot of love because of the way his brother. That's
exactly.
Why.
But I've really grown to like him a lot just watching ESPN for the past.
He was great in that one game I saw him play on a Friday against San Jose State. He was very good.
So, but I agree with you. Blake Bortles, I think, goes number 8 to Minnesota. All right, so moving on down the line, we got number 9, the AFC East team. Now, this is a team that ESPN is trading up to the number 1 pick in their latest mock draft, the Buffalo Bills. But for us, we have them at number 9. Who do you see the Bills taking it with the number 9 pick?
Quite simple. I think they need all help on offense they can get. I think that they go Jake Matthews here. They get a home run pick and Jake Matthews at number 9. I think they've needed help on it for a long time. They've given their good guys away, it seems like. They never really had when they traded Jason Peters away, it feels like they haven't had a real staple on the offensive line since they traded him away. Eric Wood's a good player, I'll say that. But I think Jake Matthews makes a lot of sense here.
I think that I'm going with Eric Ebron out of North Carolina. I think that they need help on offense, like you said, and I think they see the success of a 2 tight end system basically every week with the Patriots winning and the Bills not winning that often. So I think with Scott Chandler at tight end, and I think with Eric Ebron, they're going to try and emulate the same thing. And I think EJ Manuel is going to have a good bounce back year after injury. I was really impressed the way he played when he was healthy with the Bills. And I think it's gonna help him. That's why I got Eric Ebron going to the Buffalo Bills here.
I can see that absolutely.
So all right, so we actually kind of disagree on the needs there.
All I can say is, they need a guy.
Well, I know, but we disagree on like the position. I think that was the first time we disagreed.
I just
offense,
watched
defense,
things
blah,
of
blah,
Ebron lately. I would love if my Giants took him at 12. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I think this guy does have room to develop. So.
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying that I think he's the best tight end in the draft, and I think the Bills are going to take him.
It's not even close. Yes.
So now we get to number 10, the NFC North team that really disappointed last year, despite having the best wide receiver in football, the Detroit Lions. Who, according to NFL, they're in need of another wide receiver because there's no one else besides Calvin Johnson. Now, I'm wondering, what do you think the Detroit Lions, what do you see them doing?
I don't see how they did just sign Golden Tate and give him a fat contract. They gave him a fat contract, so I don't know. I don't know why they would take a first round. They have now probably.
I'm not saying first round, but I'm just saying in general.
I think they have. Maybe they need a slot receiver. I don't know. That's someone I think they could take in the 3rd round. They have plenty more needs. Their biggest need, though, is safety, hands down. And they go with, I think they take a kid here who's a top 5 player in the overall draft. And Hashawn, but he goes by, Clinton Dix, the fantastic safety out of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He's a product of that Nick Saban defense. He'll fill a huge need for. They've had defensive problems for I don't know how long. Their offense, I think, is set. I think they got a good line. Stafford seems protected. Reggie Bush is injury prone, but he had a great year last year when he did play.
Yes.
Even if Bush is hurt, though, they do have a very capable backup in Joique Bell.
Agreed.
Joique Bell, very capable backup. So I think they got to go defense here. Clinton Dix was a huge need right away. And he's a great player, I think, too.
Oh, I agree with you. A fantastic player coming from a system that obviously is built for success in Alabama. For me, I'm going with Darqueze Dennard, a quarterback out of Michigan State. Listen, the as you said, the secondary for the Lions is absolutely terrible. There's nothing good about it in my mind. So I think that they're going to go with someone who they think can lock down a wide receiver and kind of shut down half the field, if you will. And I think they're going to take that bet on Darqueze Dennard out of Michigan State.
Nice.
All right, so now moving down the line, we have got through the first 10 picks. Now we're into number 11, the Tennessee Titans. Will have a new head coach. They had a 7-9 record last year. Who do you see the Tennessee Titans taking in the first round?
Darqueze Dennard.
Okay.
Darqueze Dennard. That's why I kind of had nothing to say right there.
Yeah.
They just lost Alteron Werner to Tampa Bay in Lovie Smith's system. So I think that they need to replace him right away. I think Dennard, I watched him play at Michigan State. Watched him play against Notre Dame this year. Kid can play. He's a lockdown guy. I agree with everything you just said. A guy can shut down half the field. He seems like he's fallen off on some mocks, but Tennessee, even if he might be considered a reach at 11 now, Tennessee has not shied away from reaching on players before. Last year took Chance Warmack at number 10, which was, even though he's a good player, it was considered a little bit of a reach. Jake Locker at number 8, so they're not shy to reach.
Yeah. So I mean, we flip up here. I have Dixon going.
Clinton Dix. Yes.
Yeah, going to Tennessee. So I mean, we just just flip-flop.
They have needs in the secondary.
Exactly. So, you know what? We're on the same page. At number 12, we get to your New York Giants. You have a lot invested in this pick. Who do you have them taking?
I think that, well, obviously there's 3 great offensive linemen here. This is the New York Giants' philosophy. Take the best player on the board. And even though this guy has had character concerns, it seems like lately, the Giants seems like have kind of like maybe lately with guys like Will Hill have maybe said, okay, well, this is your shot. If Taylor Lewan is still on the board, the Giants will take Taylor Lewan.
Okay.
That's gonna happen. If Taylor Lewan is still on the board, which I think he has a decent shot at being, the Giants will take Taylor Lewan. I think it's either gonna be Taylor Lewan or Zach Martin. I think it's gonna be offensive line, or defensive line. I think they would have to do somewhere on this pick. But I think with Donald off the board, I don't think there's any receiver good. They have a glaring need at receiver. They need another running back. Those are things that I don't think are really you can take. Like, spoiler, I don't have a running back going in this first round at all.
And neither do I.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a running back capable of the first round talent. No.
Yeah, and there wasn't one last year. I mean, but there were very good rookie running backs last year. But a lot
Eddie Lacy, obviously,
and Giovanni Bernard. They were just situational, but Eddie Lacy proved out to be very good. I think that they still do have a lot of needs. The secondary, I think, is set. They made a lot of signings in the secondary this offseason. Even though Will Hill has question marks, Stevie Brown was a capable starter when he did play. So I think you got to go D-line or O-line here. Or Eric Ebron. I think Ebron would be available. I just think, though, if Taylor Lewan's available, you got to snatch him up.
I could agree with you. I think it'd be very tempting. Now, something that I see that the Giants really need is a linebacker. That's what I kind of think. That's where I'm kind of leaning. But I also agree with you in the offensive line. So I'm torn here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you I'm torn. I agree with you in terms of the offensive lineman that you should take Lewan if he's there. But I'm also looking at Anthony Barr. ESPN has him going 15 to Pittsburgh, and I think the Giants might try and scoop him up to help out their linebacker. And I think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to go with Anthony Barr, UCLA senior. I think that the Giants going to try and pick him up at 12, try and spoil the Steelers according to the ESPN mock draft. But that's where I see the Giants.
I could definitely see that. I wouldn't have a problem with that either. They did just sign Jamil McClain, who's a solid guy for Baltimore all these years, and they have John Beeson. I didn't mind Spencer Pacing her playing linebacker last year, so I wouldn't hate to pick of Anthony Barr, though. I think he would do good. He's a speedy guy. The Giants don't have the kind of system where they rush the linebacker a lot, though. They're so reliant on the pass rushers. Mm-hmm. But that maybe, if you take a guy like Barr, maybe they can try something new for once, because they don't really blitz a lot. So maybe this could open them up saying, hey, our pass rush isn't the same as it used to be. So that's why I wouldn't hate to pick. But I do think if Lewan is on the board, you absolutely take Taylor Lewan.
Okay, so now we get to the 13th pick in the St. Louis Rams. Back on the board.
Well, as we said, I think they have a glaring need secondary. With Clinton Dix off the board, I think by now you got to go with second best safety in the draft. Very hard-hitting safety from Louisville named Calvin Pryor. Mm-hmm. Very hard-hitting safety, good ball player. Not the best ball skills, but goes in there, starts right away, could make an instant impact on that defense.
I agree with you. Calvin Pryor is very tempting, but I actually think the team following the Rams are going to take him.
Oh, the Bears.
So I got Aaron Donald, defensive tackle. I have him going to St. Louis because I think they already have a good defense. If they get him in the center there as a defensive tackle, that just makes them better.
That would be the best young defensive line in football.
So it would be, and with them already getting, for me, they're already boosting their offensive line in the second pick for me. Getting Robinson, I think that they're going to work on their defensive line here and get Donald, and then I think they'll really have the foundations for both sides of the football that they need. So that's why I got Aaron Donald going 13.
Between Robert Quinn, Chris Long, Michael Brockers, defensive tackle.
That's a very good defense. That's a very good defense.
Football. Already got a good one, but adding Donald on that would be good. I agree with you there, though. Yes.
So I take the suspension out of the 14th pick with the Chicago Bears because this is where I got Pryor going safety out of Louisville. I have him going 14th to the Chicago Bears. Where do you see the Bears picking?
Same area, secondary. This might be a surprise because the cornerback has never been a big need for them, but I have them going with Justin Gilbert at Oklahoma State. Good, really solid, fast cornerback. The thing is, I think I could see him move over to safety. That's the thing. I see him as very versatile. So I think no matter what, he can play in that secondary. Offensively, I think they're one of the best. They're one of the top 5 offenses in football. With Jay Cutler and 2 great receivers and Matt Forte. Their offensive line seems to finally be coming around after years of disaster.
Yeah, out of Oklahoma State, right? Did you say that?
Okay. Justin Gilbert of Oklahoma State.
I'm just looking up to make sure I know what you're talking about.
I could see them going C.J. Mosley here, too, because, they need a guy. They didn't have the guy to replace Brian Urlacher last year. But I think secondary is an area of concern, especially, as we said earlier, with Green Bay and the Detroit with Calvin Johnson. guys who they got to go against. So I think secondary they go here, and that's why they take Justin Gilbert.
Okay, so now before we take a break, let's get to the 15 pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers finished 8-8 last year. They're a team that needs some offensive line help. They need a bit of secondary help as well. Where do you see the Steelers going with number 15?
Neither of those, actually.
Neither of them.
I think with the loss of Emmanuel Sanders, they go with a very crafty, very accomplished college football wide receiver here, and they go Marquise Lee.
Wow.
To complement Antonio Brown.
I have Lee going lower. But
if we were entering, if we're talking about Lee, nobody would have thought Marquise Lee would be available at 15. If we were going into, if this was last year, and he was like, if this was like last year going to college, Marquise Lee would have been a top 5 pick. But I think he's very crafty. Could be like a good sturdy presence right away, and could complement Antonio Brown because they lost Emmanuel Sanders to the Broncos. Which I said was one of the most underrated signings in the league. But I think that it fills a need for them and gives Ben Roethlisberger another weapon to throw to.
It does. It does. But this is where I have the pick you had going 14 to Chicago. I have Justin Gilbert going to the Steelers because I think they need secondary help. So that's why I have him going 15.
They do need secondary help, yeah, but they seem to take guys who are very crafty and fit their system right away.
Yeah,
I just think that this is one of the, like last year. I didn't think Jarvis Jones was the best player, but they took him because he was like an accomplished college player. Okay. So that's why, and like when they took Marquise Pouncey, they take really solid college players. I think so, and guys who are well known. So that's why I like the Marquise Lee pick here. So
all right. I think that's a little bit too high, but I respect your boldness. I respect it.
There we go.
You mumbled that. Okay. We're going to take a short break here in WIS, and we'll be back with the rest of the NFL first-round mock draft. I'm John Stanko. This is Kevin Barnett. Don't go away.